Hello, everybody. My name is Bobbie. I can remember a lot about my homeworld, Pleiades. So my soul was born straight from there, and this is why I have such a profound link. I've also had lots of communication with off-world beings and so forth. I have a whole team that works with me. But my most important thing that I want to do at the moment is I want to go live on stage. I want to take this around the world. And I'm having some opportunities come up in the recent time that is allowing me to go that way. Literally everything has been ripped away from me so that I can travel. And I've also had at exactly the same time movement towards somebody helping me go on stage over in New York. Now, the thing that I really want to stipulate here, I'm going to talk a little bit about me and my journey and how I actually got here, and also about Pleiades towards the end. But the most important thing that I want to bring up here is that when I go live, this is going to be an exchange. I am highly empathic and I can tap into many souls. So when I have across the board the audience that has all of their soul's wisdom and everything coming in, I can like tap in and bring through some of that soul's wisdom. And then when you hear it, it activates you because you're like, I know this to be the truth because it's already within you. So one of my biggest things that I'm going to be doing while I go live is an activation. And that's just so that you can understand how important you are. And if you do have a very powerful mission to carry that through, because we need more and more of us that are awakening now to start to understand how we can collaborate together both logically and intuitively to bring through a world, take the reins by our own hands, bring through a world that is conducive to peace. But we have to start off with our own peace of mind within ourselves. So I'm going to also be talking a lot about that and how to rebalance the mind. I've been taught by my guides. I'll give you some lowdowns on a little few of the stories, but I have a lot of the stories within my channeling. So I've been going live now for about 3 or 4 years. And at the same time, I started up, doing some readings and so forth, tuning into people. And I've literally done hundreds and hundreds. I think it's around 500 to 600 readings now. Many people come back as well because I help activate them. I wouldn't be surprised if towards the end I end up with a team of channelers on stage. But just for now, there will be me, and I'm really excited to be able to share my wisdom and impart so much more information due to the fact that I am a soul straight from Pleiades, so I can remember a lot. I'll just go over a couple of the stories, a few of my own real true stories, just so that you get a little bit of a bearing of who I am. So I was born in New Zealand in Christchurch, lived in Kaipoi, a little small town, and I had very strange experiences right from when I was young. I started to see things, and I found out that my mother could see things as well that others couldn't see. She hid it. She didn't like it, but I activated it by curiosity. And I didn't realize at the time, but it was my soul trying to warn me on certain people, certain things, that sort of thing would happen. I also had contact, actual physical ET contact at the age of 11. It was exactly the same time as the Kaikoura events happened on TV, and where I had an orange ball of light outside my bedroom window, and I was in telepathic communication with it. They were literally saying, "We found her." At that time, I was just this very emotional child because I could feel into everybody and everything, and I didn't know how to handle that. I had no sort of guidance. My parents were compromised by their upbringing, and I just had to sort of fumble my way through life, trying to understand who I was as a very feeling-based person, having all this contact. So, yeah, then from there, when I left home, because my mother was very powerful and she put kind of a hold on me while I was under her roof. But as soon as I left home, this whole vortex just opened up and I started to see things left, right, and center. I'd wake up and have visions and tell me to leave certain people or tell me of things that were events that were going to happen or just give me information about who I was and that sort of thing. And it just went on and on. It got really activated after I did a shamanic journey. And also when I had absolute clarity after the guidance that was trying to get my attention got my attention by leading me to a beach to dig up in the sand a solid gold bracelet. And that just inspired me to listen to the voice that was in my head that was channeling of specific beings that were trying to help me. I'd had many dreams of actual beings as well. That were coming to me and telling me of things and changes that were going to happen. This is all my life pretty much in a nutshell, but through my 30s, when it really ramped up, these visions and so forth, I was hearing things, seeing things, all sorts of things. I'd had two young children at that stage and a teenager child as well. I pretty much ended up bringing up my girls on my own. I was with the younger girl's dad for 9 years, but other than that, as soon as the girls were born, he pretty much was off the scene. Just sort of happened with me for some reason. So I went through all of this while being a single mum for with both children, with both sets of children. So one was 13 and three-quarters a year older than the other two that came later. But through this really tough time, I ended up meeting a Cherokee elder after I asked to meet somebody that was living. They said I didn't need to, but I said I wanted to. I changed the rules. So that was cool. But the cool thing is at the same time, they were telling me to take the reins myself and ask questions. So that's how that happened. And I ended up meeting a beautiful elder, Cherokee elder, and it was really synchronistic how it all happened. A big, long story right there. But in the end, she taught me that there was magic beyond what we were physically taught in the schools. So she took my hand and held my hand and talked to me telepathically for over an hour. She told me stories of things being able to be move into animals and so forth and have a lot more control over your life through your imagination when it wasn't held hostage. Most people's imagination is held hostage either by the TV programs, news, just things pulled over our eyes on how the system so-called works, but it's never really worked for us. Anyway, another story right there. I also had certain beings that have come to me as well through all of this, high benevolent beings, and giving me a wealth of love and support and that sort of thing too. So amongst that was also the fear mongering of those that were trying to keep me down. I was attacked by another being, and it was a more of a draconian being, I found out anything that is attacking you is actually teaching you where you're lacking within yourself. And so when I took my power back and realized that I could actually handle this and free them, actually, they stayed away from me from then on. And I'm no longer afraid of anything like that anymore. What else? So also I had a calling, and that calling was to go to Iluru in 2011. And at the same time, David Icke was coming here. I'd already been prepped for this because I'd had a dream. I was going to meet a semi-famous man, and it was going to be around 2012. It was in preparation for 2012 and the shifts that were going to start. So after having another dream that showed me in a bus going to Uluru, the very next morning on my emails was a actual invitation from David Icke for anyone who wanted to put their name in a hat, and he would choose people out their names out of a hat. I don't know who's going to look after my two beautiful girls, but we're just going to put this out to the universe because I just woke up from this dream saying that I was supposed to go to Uluru. So I ended up going to Uluru with David Icke. Incredible things happened there as well. While I was there, it was just fast. As my life has been pretty fascinating. Amongst all of this, in the year 2000, I ended up winning a competition just with my singing because I was a singer-songwriter, so I was a performer. So I'm used to going up on stage, ended up singing in front of a football game, Broncos here in Australia, in front of like, I think it was 40,000. I'm not really sure, 20,000. I'm not really sure, but there's a lot of thousands. And center stage. So I'm not afraid of getting up on stage and speaking. I've had a lot of dreams of being handed the mic and saying that I have to speak. And this is before I even knew that I had anything really much to say. But now I do because I've done all this work and I really have a strong connection to my guides. I know who they are. And we together are meant to move forward with this. I'm meant to go on stage. And I have been so blessed just recently. Absolutely wonderful lady who's been following me, and I helped her, has now decided she wants to help me. And in the end, she's trying to set up at this moment me going to New York to speak live on stage. And she's started a GoFundMe. So I'm prepared to put in 2 free readings if anyone wants a reading from me. I have literally done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of readings over the last few years, and people keep coming back. So it's been brilliant. I'm so happy that I'm being able to help shift so many people out there. So if you do want a free reading from me, go to that GoFund. I'm giving away 2 30-minute free readings, and just anyone who donates goes in for the draw. I mean, this is just to pay for my accommodation and flights while I'm over there, and see if we can accumulate maybe even some more so that I can go to another country or another state, or somewhere else as well. And anyone out there that is interested in me getting up on stage and having an energy exchange with those in the audience, I really want to bring through a lot more of my wisdom and my just my soul and who I am, so that I can pull through messages from the audience's soul as well as my benevolent team, answer questions, that sort of thing, on where we're actually going into these higher dimensions. Also, I know where we're going because my team way back would have been about 20 plus years ago, and woke me up in humanity's potential or my own potential. I'm not really sure, but when I woke up, my mind was completely still. I know that much. And it's been my compass ever since to just stay in that still mind as much as I possibly can. And yeah, that gave me an insight into the value of humanity's potential. So I really want to activate our potential, and that includes telepathy, telekinesis, and so forth. And this is the reason why I started the school AMAKEL. So AMAKEL is a beautiful school with lots and lots and lots of games. I've poured in hundreds of hours of work into these games to help activate you. We also have lessons as well, activating past lives, telekinesis. I'm going to be bringing that one up soon. We also have signs, synchronicities. I've just done a shamanic animal one, which I'm going to be uploading soon. There's just so much more that we can learn once we start to activate this right hemisphere and where we can actually go. So I am a soul straight from Pleiades. I was found by a Cherokee elder who was actually sent by her elders to go find specific souls, which are souls straight from Pleiades. And I'd also had encounters when I was 11 of from beings that were from Pleiades as well. I also know I'm from Pleiades because everything matched up with everything that the elder was talking about. But at the age of 19, because I didn't meet her till I was in my 30s, when I was 19, I literally could remember, I had these memories of being in Pleiades. I was in a home that had the water coming straight up to the veranda. It was like it was like marble floors, and then the water came straight up, butted up to it. And dolphins were part of our family, almost like this. Our souls could go into a dolphin if we wanted to, and we had this telepathic communication with them. So we had an understanding of knowing who they were. There was big, huge pillars that held up. Our homes were very tall, very open. The light was a lot kind of like bluey, pinky, a lot different. There's also a lot of different realities in Pleiades, even though we call them the Seven Sisters. There's a lot of information within that story, the true story of the Seven Sisters as well. It's to do with the energy alignment back in Atlantis, Lemuria, and then when the Draconians, the Anunnaki won the so-called war because of the needing for humanity to learn all about their logical left side, their masculine side, their outer world. They won the war, and so there was this exchange, or almost like handing over the baton from those that were holding up the energy from the Pleiadians, and they crossed over with the Draconians, and the Anunnaki. And so there was this story that went with that. And they learn a lot from the right hemisphere. It's almost like they're handing over the baton. Okay, we know all about the right hemisphere. Here you guys go. You're in control now. And anything that is unbalanced, because we have two hemispheres within our brain, even if we are learning all about the logical side, it eventually will come into balance again. And so that was overpowering for the logical side, of looking outside of ourselves. The masculine energy will end up consuming itself. And through that's the energy exchange that's happening at the moment, because humanity has been asked to come forth now. We're being asked to take charge of our own destination now. We've had the lessons from that right hemisphere, that feminine Pleiadian hemisphere, the Lyran hemisphere, the Lyrans that actually did the DNA work on us. We had all of that way back, and we've had now the Anunnaki, the draconian logical thinking, looking outside oneself lesson as well. Now it's time for humanity to step forward and actually take the reins to their own self. And I think that's one of the reasons why they actually told me, you need to learn to take the reins for yourself. Because if I wanted to be an example, leading example, not to go out and just spout words and say things, but not have actually had the example myself. So my life has had a lot of negative downturns and so forth, just so that I can find a way out, find a way out, find a way out. And it always comes back to, how do you feel about yourself? Who are you? No longer blaming the outside world for what's happening to you, but taking the reins to your own reality and moving forward from that.